Protests are nothing new. They have been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Could go from people who have joined together in solidarity, shoulder to shoulder, no matter their color, race, creed, or background, in solidarity to make certain that there's change out there in the world. And other protests are, well, just fucking stupid. As far as the stupid ones, here are 7 of the dumbest protests. Nowadays, it is almost second nature to get in your car and put on your seatbelt. You don't even think about it. It's like blinking or breathing or drinking coffee. It's like automatic, you just do it. And you don't even think about it later on. You get in your car, you click your seatbelt in, you drive. We all have known this for the last, 15, 20 years. Everybody knows to do this. Hell, some people don't even pull off. They're like, hey, you gonna put that seatbelt on? Get that seatbelt on. Everybody knows about clicking a ticket. Nobody wants to pay some high ass fine when it comes not to putting on your seatbelt. But there was a time that people actually protested wearing seatbelts. In the 70s and 80s, the government tried to go state by state by making it mandatory for everyone to wear a seatbelt in the car. But people protested this by saying there is no science or proof that seatbelts actually keep you safer than actually not wearing them. People even protested by cutting out their seatbelts in their car, stating that, hey, you're safer by getting thrown from your car in an accident than you are if you're seatbelt and locked in doing a wreck. Yeah, that actually said that. A lot of people said that they're trampling on their rights as an American, and that it is their body, their car, and their rights whether or not they should wear a seatbelt or not when they're driving around. It is quite weird nowadays to see somebody light up a cigarette anywhere. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there was a point in time where you could smoke anywhere, and I mean anywhere. My bus driver as a kid used to smoke on the bus. During recess, teachers would be seen smoking outside in between classes, lunch breaks, etc. It was nothing, nothing to be in a restaurant and see several people smoking. Hell, they even had smoking and non-smoking sections in restaurants. And then they said, hundreds of thousands of people are dying from this. Tens of thousands of people are dying from secondhand smoke. Maybe we need to stop this. People had smoke-ins. Yes, like a sit-in during the civil rights movement. People had smoke-ins. They would go to restaurants in different places, 50, 60, 75 people, and smoke to protest the fact that they could not any longer smoke in public around people. People had to be told that smoking is bad, and smoking around other people, like kids, elderly people, and people with lung conditions, it might not be a good idea to smoke around them. And just like with seatbelts and something now, what's going on now? What is people protesting now? Can't think of it. But they also said there's no science behind it. There's no proof that people are getting sick or people can get lung disease from secondhand smoke. There's just not enough science to back it. You even had restaurant and club owners say that they would be losing money if customers couldn't smoke in restaurants and bars. Guess what? They didn't lose any money. They didn't lose any customers, and people are now used to it. Just think about that for a second. There was a point in time, not too long ago, where people could smoke anywhere. Then they said they couldn't. Then they protested it, and then everybody just got used to it. And now you just don't see it. People had to be told that smoking around other people is bad. Some of you may be too young to remember a show called Married with Children. Now, this was a show in the 90s about an average American guy, married. He was a dad, a husband. He drank beer. He ogled women. He got into it with his wife. He didn't give two shits about his kids really unless somebody was messing with his daughter, to which he would go kick their ass. Regular Joe. And everybody loved it except for a group of moms who thought that the things that he did were a little offensive, like staring at women. They protested this show to be canceled. It got so bad with this show that companies like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Johnson & Johnson, just name a few, pulled their ads from this show. Again, these are the same companies who today advertise for shows like Breaking Bad, Desperate Housewives, South Park, Rick and Morty, and Real Households or wherever the fuck they got pregnant by whatever athlete they got pregnant by. Like, just to stop for a second, there was a time where even Bart Simpson was protested. I remember being in school and there was a kid who wore a Bart Simpson shirt, and on the shirt it said, "Eat my shorts." He was called to the office and they made him flip his shirt inside out until his mother, who had to leave work, brought him another shirt. We have Stewie Griffin murdering people. And there's a American Doll commercial after that. There's a McDonald's or Burger King. Like, Family Guy has so many ads and so many sponsors. Think about that for just a second. Just a second. Where people thought there was a TV show that was so bad, and the worst thing in this show was a man staring at a woman in a bikini. That was literally the worst thing on television that day. The worst thing. Christians against condoms. Self-explanatory, right? Just what? I'm just going to say that some of those groups actually said that if you didn't want to get pregnant and you didn't want to get a disease and you didn't want to get an STD and you didn't want to get AIDS, you just have to pray. Because God doesn't like condoms. God also said that he could only be the one who judges people, but hey, religion. Any protests against video games in the 90s? Now, these days you don't really hear much about people protesting video game violence. Some people bring it up every now and again, but back in the day when video games, say like Mortal Kombat came out, there would be groups of moms who were like, this game is too gory. I'm talking Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, by the way. That type of gore is what I'm saying. I said, oh, this is a game too violent for my kid. There was even a situation where a kid killed his friend and the mom tried to sue the makers and creators of Mortal Kombat 3, stating that the son thought that he was Cyrax and that he stabbed his friend because he thought he was the character, and he used the same fatality that Cyrax used. Listen, I played Mortal Kombat 3, and I don't remember Cyrax pulling out a kitchen knife and stabbing the character in the chest. That's just me. I don't know if he put in a special code and some shit that we just missed out on. But yeah, she tried to use that. There has been several games like Doom and Duke Nukem and Street Fighter and several other games where parents tried to go, well, my son did this because of this video game. Literally anything that happened in the 90s that had to do with kids doing crazy shit, or there was a school shooting back in the 90s. I don't know if many of you have ever seen or talked about it or read about it at Columbine, where it also was blamed on music and was blamed on video game violence. And nobody just goes, well, what about all the violence? Same thing that was happening in the 60s and the 70s. I mean, nobody ever blamed Pong for anything. Nobody ever blamed fucking Cubert for anything. You have a fat plumber who has had kids popping mushrooms, prescription pills, and abusing animals for decades, and he's never brought up in the conversation of violent video games ever that video games are inappropriate for children. Never. This man has had you popping prescription pills and hallucinogenic mushrooms, and no. I wasn't going to bring up any protests that are happening today, but this one has to be one of the dumbest. The Florida gym protest. Now, if you missed it, what basically happened is a bunch of gyms had gotten closed in Florida when they were reclosing things when the numbers had went up. Now, these, let's call them gym rats, decided that they needed a gym to work out. They wanted to protest and tell the government that you're taking our ability to work out away. So what did they do? They showed up in the hundreds and they decided to just stand in front of gyms and work out. They did push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, and crunches in front of gyms to prove that they needed a gym to work out. I don't even, and last but not least, any protest against a fast food establishment for a fast food item to be taken away or coming back. There's been so many protests. The latest ones are like the ones people protest when they take away the McRib, or the Rick and Morty situation with the sauce, or Taco Bell recently when they got rid of some items. Like, y'all don't need that book. Y'all, well, there is absolutely nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Nothing. And in fact, the McRib, you know, I'm gonna tell you something, how you can make something better than a fucking McRib that tastes like absolutely like just fucking, a McRib smells like dog food. Okay, it's meat byproduct shaped to look like a rib. Shaped. Why is that an appetizer? You know what you could do? You could just go to the store, get you some ribs, season it, get it all seasoned good, marinated, put that bad, chop it up good, put it in a fucking crock pot, or grill it, or pop it in the stove, wait till that meat is falling off the bone, chop it up real good, get you a nice sub roll, a good hoagie roll, put it on there with some pickles, and make you something 100 times better than a fucking McDonald's McRib. That's nothing to Thank you guys so much for watching. If there are any dumb protests that I forgot, please list it down in the comments down below. If you like this video, click that like button. Make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Please share with everybody, everywhere you can. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Sure appreciate it, and see y'all at the next coffee break.